They say life is fixed. The world is solid, unchanging. But what if it isn't? Imagine waking up every morning feeling like you're trapped inside the exact same day. Same thoughts, same routines, same problems staring back at you, like shadows that never move. This was her life. A woman, not so different from you. She read every self-help book she could find. She wrote her dreams in journals, hoping the universe was listening. She lit candles, chanted affirmations, visualized her perfect future until tears blurred the images in her mind. And yet, nothing changed. The same relationship patterns, the same disappointing bank balance, the same heavy knot in her chest whenever she looked in the mirror. Each morning, reality greeted her like a cruel copy-and-paste version of yesterday. It felt like an endless loop, one she couldn't escape no matter how hard she tried. Her effort turned into exhaustion. Her hope became a whisper. She started to wonder if maybe she was cursed or simply broken. But then, one quiet night, something shifted. Not in the world. In her. She sat alone, lights dimmed, the hum of the city faint beyond her window. Her mind raced at first. Plans, fears, endless what-ifs. But eventually, there was silence. A moment between thoughts. A pause so deep it felt like the whole world was holding its breath. And in that pause, she stopped trying. Stopped forcing. Stopped begging life to be different. She just watched. Not from desperation. Not from anger. Simply from presence. Like a witness. Like someone observing a painting instead of trying to repaint it. And in that stillness, something began to dissolve. Not her problems. Not her past. But the tight grip she'd been holding on everything. Her body softened. Her breath deepened. And for the first time, she saw clearly. Reality was not fixed. It was fluid, like water. It was responding, not to her actions, but to the quality of her gaze. This realization was small at first, almost imperceptible, but it cracked something open inside her. She understood, with a clarity that sent shivers down her spine. Life wasn't happening to her. Life was happening through her. Every moment was a canvas waiting for the brushstroke of her observation. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption, a signal sent into the invisible field that surrounded her. She didn't need to fight to create change. She needed to see differently. And that was the moment everything began to shift. Because here's the secret most people never hear. Reality isn't a rigid movie already written and playing on some giant cosmic screen. It's a living, breathing ocean of possibilities. A quantum soup swirling with infinite timelines. And you? You are the one holding the camera. Your observation, your way of looking, decides which version solidifies into your world. That night, as she sat in silence, she realized she wasn't powerless. She was powerful in a way she'd never imagined. It didn't start with action. It didn't start with striving or fixing. It started with a shift in awareness. So now, I ask you, what if the only thing standing between you and the reality you desire is the way you look at it? What if, right now, you could choose a new lens, and in doing so, choose a new world? The answer, and the proof, is coming. But first, you have to see it for yourself. You have to dare to observe. Let's step into the lab for a moment. Not a mystical temple, not a sacred cave. A simple, ordinary science lab. Cold floors, metal tables, buzzing fluorescent lights. Here, scientists set up one of the most famous experiments in history. At first glance, it seemed simple. A barrier with two narrow slits. A beam of particles, tiny bits of matter or light, fired straight at the barrier. On the other side, a screen to capture where the particles landed. Everyone expected a predictable result. One particle would go through one slit. Another particle would go through the other. Two neat lines should appear on the screen, side by side, like footprints in fresh snow. But that's not what happened. When the scientists didn't observe the particles, when no one was watching, the particles behaved like waves. They spread out, interfered with each other, creating a beautiful, rippling pattern. Not two lines, but many, as if each particle had explored every path at once. It was as though reality itself was undecided, as though each particle existed in a state of pure possibility. But here's where things got truly strange. When scientists added a measuring device to observe the particles, to track which slit they passed through, the magic disappeared. The waves collapsed. The interference pattern vanished. Suddenly, the particles acted like solid matter again, choosing a single slit and leaving two boring, ordinary lines on the screen. Observation changed the result. Think about that. The very act of watching altered reality. When unobserved, endless possibilities danced in harmony. When observed, one clear outcome crystallized, like water freezing into ice. This discovery shattered everything we thought we knew about the universe. It suggested that, on a fundamental level, the world doesn't exist as fixed matter until consciousness interacts with it, until someone looks. Now, zoom out of the lab and into your life. You may think your daily reality is solid, your job, your relationships, your bank account, your body. But what if it's not? What if, beneath the surface, your life is more like those particles? A sea of potential outcomes, waiting to be shaped by how you observe them? Every thought you think is like a measuring device. Every emotion, every belief, every assumption, they're all acts of observation. And just like the experiment, your attention collapses possibilities into form. When you look at your finances with fear, you're not just noticing what's there. You're locking in a timeline where fear dominates money. When you see your body through shame, you're not simply observing reality. You're shaping it to match that emotion. When you view a relationship through mistrust, you're helping that mistrust materialize. This isn't punishment. It's precision. The field of infinite potential doesn't judge you. It mirrors you. It reflects back the quality of your gaze with perfect accuracy. Most people don't realize this. They think their thoughts and feelings are passive reactions to life. But the truth is staggering. Your attention is creative. Every moment you look at something with strong emotional energy, you make it more real. You bring it from wave to particle, from potential to form. This means you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. But it also means you carry responsibility. Because if your attention shapes the outcome, then how you look matters as much as what you look at. So here's the question only you can answer. Are you observing your life through the lens of love, or through the lens of fear? Are you collapsing timelines of expansion, or timelines of limitation? This is the hidden key to manifestation that most never understand. You're not here to force reality into existence. You're here to see with clarity, to observe consciously, to choose your lens before you choose your actions. Because every gaze, every focus point, every moment of attention is a cosmic vote for the world you want to live in. And the universe? It's not personal. It's precise. It simply delivers the reality that matches the frequency of your gaze. The experiment proved it in the lab. Now, you get to prove it in your life. But first, you must uncover why you've been stuck observing the same old patterns over and over again. And for that, we need to go deeper into the loops of the past. Every day, you wake up thinking you're making new choices, new ideas, new moves. But in truth, most people aren't living at all. They're replaying the same emotions, the same beliefs, the same inner stories on an endless loop, like a song stuck on repeat. You might call it fate, bad luck, just the way life is. But it isn't any of those things. It's your past, quietly running the show. Think about this. Somewhere back in time, you experienced pain. Maybe someone you loved abandoned you. Maybe you were betrayed or told you weren't enough. Your conscious mind grew up and moved on, but your body never forgot. Your nervous system stored that memory like a secret file. Now, every time you step into a new situation, your mind says, I'm ready for change. But your energy whispers, I don't trust this. Let's say you enter a new relationship. On the surface, you're open and hopeful. But deep down, you're scanning for danger. Every word, every glance, every silence, you interpret through the lens of fear. You're not just seeing your partner. You're seeing your past. And without even realizing it, you begin collapsing a timeline of mistrust. Eventually, something happens that confirms your suspicion. And you say to yourself, I knew it. But was it destiny? Or was it the frequency of your gaze pulling that outcome toward you? The same pattern plays out with money. Every time you check your bank account, your stomach knots. You mutter, there's never enough. You're not merely noticing numbers on a screen. You're observing through the vibration of lack. And that observation feeds itself, creating more stress, more scarcity, more struggle. This is how reality loops are formed. Observation creates reality. Reality reinforces emotion. Emotion strengthens observation. Round and round it goes. And because you're observing unconsciously, you think life is just happening to you. But the truth? You're selecting the same version of reality over and over again. Not because you want to, because your inner lens hasn't changed. It's like wearing tinted glasses without knowing it. If the lens is dark, the whole world looks dim. You think the problem is out there, but the real distortion is coming from inside you. This is why affirmations and vision boards alone don't work. You can say, "I am abundant" 1,000 times. But if your nervous system is still tuned to the frequency of lack, the field will only reflect that deeper signal. Your inner observer doesn't lie. It broadcasts your true state with precision, and the universe responds with matching clarity. This is why so many people feel stuck. No matter how hard they try to manifest something new, they're not failing to create. They're succeeding at unconsciously recreating the past. Until you realize this, you stay trapped. The same emotions, the same reactions, the same evidence appearing before your eyes, convincing you that change is impossible. But here's the liberating truth. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is final. What feels like fate is really just familiarity. The moment you change how you observe, you change what you select from the field. You stop replaying the old song and begin composing a new one. The first step isn't to fight your patterns or resist them. It's to see them, to notice the loops without becoming them. Because once you see that your world is a reflection of your inner observer, you gain the power to choose again. And choice is where freedom begins. Most people will never reach this moment of awareness. They will live and die repeating what came before, believing it was destiny all along. But you are awakening. And once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it. The past stops being a prison. It becomes a portal. And on the other side, a new way of looking, a new way of living, a new reality waiting to be observed. Changing your reality doesn't begin with a grand action. It begins with a subtle shift, a shift so quiet most people miss it. It starts with the way you look at life. Imagine standing at a window covered in dirt and grime. Through that dirty glass, the world outside appears dull, gray, distorted. You might think the world itself is ugly, but the truth is, it's only your window that's clouded. This is what happens when you view life through old wounds, inherited beliefs, and past traumas. Your perception becomes a filter, and that filter decides what you see and, more importantly, what you don't see. The work is not about fixing the outside world. The work is about cleaning the lens. How do you do that? Not by force, not by trying to control every outcome, but by learning to observe differently. It begins with stillness. Find a quiet space. No phone, no distractions, just you, your breath, and your willingness to look inward. Sit down comfortably. Let your spine lengthen, as if your body is remembering how to rise without tension. Close your eyes gently. Place one hand over your heart, the other over your stomach. Feel the warmth of your own presence. Now breathe. Slowly inhale through your nose. Hold for a moment. Exhale through your mouth, letting your shoulders drop. With each breath, imagine releasing the need to control. Let go of the weight of fixing, solving, proving. As you settle into this calm, bring to mind a situation in your life that feels stuck. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a dream you've been chasing that hasn't yet arrived. Don't analyze it. Just let it appear in your awareness like an image on a screen. Notice how you've been looking at it. Have you been observing it through frustration, through fear, through impatience, or doubt? Be honest with yourself. Feel the energy in your body as you hold that image. The tightness in your chest, the tension in your jaw, the heat of emotion. This is the shape of your current observation, and this is what the field has been responding to. Now, take a deep breath. Imagine that the problem has already been resolved. Imagine that future version of you, standing on the other side of this challenge, at peace, free, clear. Observe the situation as that person would. From love, not lack. From trust, not fear. From calm certainty instead of desperate control. Notice what happens inside you. Your breath deepens. Your shoulders loosen. Your heart softens. This is not fantasy. This is frequency. Your body and mind are aligning with a new version of reality. You are no longer collapsing the old timeline. You are selecting a new one. This is the essence of conscious observation. You are not trying to fix the outer world. You are shifting the inner lens through which the outer world appears. At first, it may feel subtle, almost invisible. But like tuning a radio, even the smallest adjustment changes what signal you receive. Do this practice daily, not as a ritual to make something happen, but as a way to remember who you truly are. The observer, the architect, the one who chooses the gaze. Soon, you'll notice something strange. Conversations shift. Opportunities appear. People respond to you differently. It won't feel forced. It will feel natural, as though the world has been rearranging itself in your favor all along. Because it has. You just couldn't see it through the dirty glass. When you change how you look, what you look at changes. And that's when life begins to open in ways you never imagined. Most people think the universe rewards effort. Work harder, push more, hustle, strive, and eventually, things will shift. But the quantum field doesn't work that way. It doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to precision. Reality is not a lifeless machine, endlessly grinding forward. It's alive. It's listening. It's reflecting back your inner state with astonishing accuracy. And here's the secret no one tells you. Your outer world is not separate from you. It's a perfect mirror of your inner gaze. The field doesn't care about your words or your rituals. It responds to the frequency behind them. When you say, "I trust," but deep down you're terrified, the field doesn't hear the words. It hears the fear. This is why so many people feel stuck. They try to manifest with their thoughts, but their energy is still vibrating with doubt, scarcity, and old pain. So they keep collapsing the same reality over and over again. It isn't failure. It's feedback. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop seeing obstacles as punishment. You start recognizing them as signals. Clues pointing you toward the parts of yourself that need to be seen differently. Imagine your life as a dance between you and the universe. Every step you take, every emotion you feel, every thought you focus on, the field matches it perfectly, without judgment, like a mirror reflecting your face. It cannot lie. It cannot distort. It simply shows you what you are projecting. This is why your observation matters more than your action. You can't fake your gaze. You can't pretend to be at peace while secretly vibrating with chaos. The field responds to your true signal, the one that hums beneath the surface. When you begin observing through love instead of fear, through expansion instead of defense, through calm presence instead of frantic urgency, everything starts to shift. This is not magic. It's mechanics. Quantum mechanics. The observer effect is precise and unfailing. When you change the quality of your gaze, you change the timeline. You collapse into form. You don't need to chase opportunity. You don't need to force outcomes. You don't even need to earn the life you want in the traditional sense. You simply need to become the version of you who already lives it. Close your eyes and imagine that version of yourself. The one who is already safe, already loved, already abundant. See through their eyes. Feel through their body. Notice how their energy flows, steady, grounded, whole. When you hold that state, you send a new signal to the field, and the field responds instantly, reorganizing everything around you. Conversations shift. Doors open. People appear seemingly out of nowhere to support you, not because they weren't there before, but because your new gaze finally allowed you to see them. This is why some call it magic. But it isn't magic at all. It's alignment. Pure, elegant alignment. And it begins the moment you stop looking through the eyes of your past and start observing through the frequency of your future self. Your current reality is nothing more than old light, echoes of previous choices and old vibrations. But the next moment, the next timeline, that's unwritten, and you hold the pen. You are the architect of what comes next. The question is simple, but life-altering. Which lens will you choose? The one clouded by fear and repetition, or the one polished by love and awareness? The universe isn't waiting to judge you. It's waiting to mirror you, with absolute precision, with perfect clarity. When you change your gaze, you change your world. And when you hold that new gaze long enough, you don't just shift your circumstances, you shift who you are. Stillness becomes your power, presence becomes your strategy, and reality itself begins to bend. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became a conscious observer.